so kind, staring out into space, asking God to hear my case, trying to think of all things past. How long will my memory last? The purple angel, purple angel, purple angel, you're next to me.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer's Speaks Radio. I'm Lori LeBay, the host and founder of Alzheimer's Speaks. And I just want to welcome you to our show. We always get a lot of new listeners, so I'm just going to explain to our audience who we are and what we're about quickly before we get into our show. Bottom line, Alzheimer's Speaks is an advocacy-based company providing multiple platforms to shift our dementia care culture from crisis to comfort around the world. You see, we believe that by joining forces and sharing knowledge and having these everyday conversations about life with dementia, that we're going to be able to help remove the stigmas attached to memory loss and the fear that wraps around people. We want them to continue to live with purpose, and we know that by having an open, honest, authentic conversation, we can do that. We've seen that happen. So I want to thank you for joining us today. And I also want to invite you to join us in collaborating against this battle with dementia, because, again, we feel none of us can do this alone. And so we have to come together. And we know that that's working thanks to all of you with your likes, your clicks, and shares. If it's on Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or LinkedIn or Google or all the other multitude of platforms that are out there, you see, you've been sharing the content we're pushing out, and that has made a huge difference. It got us recognized as the number one influencer online for Alzheimer's disease, according to ShareCare and Dr. Oz, as well as Maria Shriver saying that we are an architect of change for humanity. And, you know, they wouldn't have known anything about us without you. And so both of those recognitions we share with you because, again, it's a joint effort. And we thank you for pushing information out and giving people hope, because there's so many people in our own spheres that are dealing with this disease that we don't even know about. And, you know, we're all just a little bit more comfortable and feel a little bit more normal when whatever we're dealing with, we're hearing about in the world. It makes us not feel so different. So we hope that you'll continue to push out the content we have, both on the radio, on our website, on the blog, our YouTube channel, and our dementia chats, where we actually have conversations with experts who are diagnosed with the disease and who give us really kind of the true poop on what it's like to live with dementia and how they'd like the world to react to them. I also want to encourage all of you to join us on our conference and cruise that we're going to be doing in the Bahamas. It's going to be an Eastern Caribbean cruise this fall, November 11th through the 18th. We have an excellent team of educators that are going to be full of fun and laughter as well. And our goal is really to have everybody relax, rejuvenate, learn, and connect. We have Cindy Luzinski, who heads up a grassroots effort in northern Colorado. We also have Becky Watson joining us, who is a music therapist. And we have 4 amazing people living with dementia that will share their stories, their tips, their resources, their goals, their struggles, and their triumphs. Harry Urban, Michael Ellenbogen, Lori Shearer, and Mary Reed. And we want our audiences to really feel part of the conversation. So we will be pulling everybody in to whatever comfort level that they have. So will be fun. I also want to give a shout out to the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation. They are just an amazing group of people that do a lot of work with holistic healing. So you're looking at diet and exercise, meditation, etc. Go and check them out. And if you can't remember the name, just go to alzheimersspeaks.com and scroll down to the bottom, and you will see their logo. You can just click on that. Again, the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention. I'd also like to mention June 4th, I'm going to be out in Orange County, California, for Maria Shriver's Move for Minds event. And if you're out that way, give me a jingle. I would love to meet you. I always like to meet people dealing with dementia and hear their stories. But I will be out that way for a short period of time. And we would love for you to join us in raising funds for research that is basically women-based genetically. And because more women tend to have the disease than men. And so Maria is really passionate about raising funds for that. Let me introduce our guest today. We are going to have a lot of fun, I think, talking about the arts. We are so lucky to have Lola Fraknoi with us, and she is the creator of Art Kit for people with memory loss, and she's also a professor of art in the older adult program at the City College of San Francisco. She has more than 25 years of experience in the aging field and has worked as a program director, a community services manager, and as a founder and director of Ruth's Table, which is a really cool center for multi-generational creative learning. She'll, I'm sure, talk a little bit more about that as well. Lola is also trained as a professional artist, and she's always found ways, no matter what she's doing, to bring art and music and creativity into the programs that she's led. So welcome, Lola.
Well, thank you.
Well, I'm excited to have you here today. I was browsing your website, and it looks like you're doing a lot of really fun things. But before we get started, I a lot of times like to ask our guests if they have been personally touched in their own family or circle of friends by dementia.
Yes, my mother had Alzheimer's disease, and a lot of the inspiration for designing this art kit stemmed from being with her and seeing what was available and challenging my artistic expression and what I can do as an artist to communicate with her in a creative way.
Oh, very cool. It's weird what pushes us forward sometimes and what can happen when something not so pleasant hits our families and hits our hearts. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe the research that kind of supported your idea of the art kit, and exactly what is an art kit?
Sure. Well, the art kit is a binder full of 5 different categories of activities. It has clay projects, it has visual stories, it has prompt drawings, it has collage, and all of these activities are designed because not all of us are talented in all areas. So one could just love the tactile aspect of clay and not necessarily like drawing. Mm-hmm. So I designed it that way. It all comes in a binder with all the supplies and all the instructions you need to get started to explore your creativity of your loved one.
Okay. When you talk about, not all of us are talented, I totally get that. Can you talk about the variety of things that you have in an art kit, or are they each kind of specific to a certain genre?
Yeah, I also wanted to finish your previous question about the research. Mm-hmm. So basically, first of all, was the experience with my mother. And as language started to fail us, I just started to draw some things and do some things with her. Also, my own experience as an art teacher, and I teach right now at City College, and the communities that I serve this is from the director itself. There's 30% of people with dementia. They may not all been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but older communities that are going to community centers are also part of this picture of having dementia. And so 30% of the people that I serve now have Alzheimer's. And I uh, from long experience, we're all intimidated by an empty piece of paper. A white piece of paper is very intimidating for most people that have not drawn in a while or feel themselves not being creative.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the projects that I've designed are based on prompts. So I would give you half a light bulb and see how you would finish that, or half a dress
Mm-hmm.
and see how you would finish that. And the results have been spectacular because you give the participant a chance to finish something, but finish something in a very creative, unique way that you wouldn't expect. And that has been the surprise of caregivers that would say, no, my mom is not an artist. She cannot do this. Or researchers that have looked at this and said, oh my God, that we were not expecting this kind of creativity. So half a light bulb can become a sad face.
Mm-hmm.
Half a dress can become a fancy pair of gloves. Very unusual and creative ways that tell you there's a lot of brain activity going on. And as the research by, for example, Bruce Miller here at UCSF show that creativity is an area of strength that is spared longer by the disease. And for some Alzheimer's patients, this can be even enhanced after language is gone. This is also confirmed by the late Gene Cohen's research, who's my favorite quote, and this inspires me every day, is creativity is like chocolate to the brain. So, I just think this is so right on because there is no cure right now. And as it used to be said by cardiologists that didn't know how to deal with people that had heart disease, now everyone knows that there's a menu of wellness, of meditation, of eating well, of exercise. Well, right now neurologists are prescribing the arts for Alzheimer patients
Mm-hmm.
because both the research and the participants' work are proving it.
Mm-hmm. Well, very interesting. Are you familiar with the Reimagine conference in Atlanta that Dementia Action Alliance is doing
No.
this June? That might be something that you want to look up because they're actually doing an art exhibit with people with dementia, and I think you'd be a great contact for them. You can just go to daanow.org, daanow.org, and you'll be able to find out more information about their conference. And you might decide you want to join them down there. It's in June, and
Sure.
and again, they can get you more information on that.
Thank you for the contact. Yes, I'll look into it.
Yeah. So is there a process of testing an art kit in terms of what are people, what are their reactions and what are the results like? Or is that something that's really subjective?
No, I don't like subjective. As an art teacher, I was trained in a very traditional way. I was trained in South America, so we all had to grind our own pigments to make our oil paint. So
wow.
I like teaching in a very concrete way, and I think art is full of skills that can be learned.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to get into the whole thing of talent because who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what can, if people would have had a chance, who would have been talented or not. But definitely skills everyone can learn. So I tested around the Bay Area with people that were already diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I wanted to be kind of clear about who that I wanted to help that community in specific. So I tested at the Institute on Aging, at Unlock Senior Health, Rhoda Goldman, Pacific Medical Center, California Pacific Medical Center, and also I wanted to test in individual homes because I think a lot of people that can benefit from this are the caregivers themselves. I mean, I was a caregiver, and at 2 a.m. when my mom was fully awake, it was great to have some art activity where she would be engaged and happy, and I could sleep an hour or two. So this is also a gift for all the caregivers that need a little respite, and so. I understand the hard work of caregivers, and in many ways I have dedicated, because my mom was in Peru, I dedicate this work to my sister that was the main caregiver, and she says, I wish you would have come up with this before because she could have, really used it. So anyway, the place where I test, there's usually 12 to 15 participants in average. And what is very unusual is that the room gets absolutely quiet. And participants are intensely involved for an hour and a half. And that could be one activity for the entire time, or it could be two activities, but not more than two projects per that period of time. And what's amazing that caregivers say, it's like there's no interruptions. They don't need to eat or go to the bathroom. I mean, that is like intense time that they're completely devoted to the art process. And that is really great for them, but it's also, like I said, great for caregivers, because the kit is designed that there's very little intervention needed. Once the art kit is set up, they go to town. They really don't need, and I actually, encourage caregivers not to sit next to them if at all possible, and just let them be artists for that period of time.
Well, I like that. I like what you said about, it's an hour and a half period, and how intensive they are in terms of working on their project, where I think so many people think, they can't sit still that long. They don't have that attention span. And we as care partners and people in general, we always focus on what we believe can't happen instead of what can happen or what might happen, and letting things be. And so that's a huge myth buster that you're providing people, because I think not only does it give people insights to possibilities who are caring for people with dementia, but it gives a person with dementia purpose and satisfaction. And, art isn't to be judged. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and everybody, can say their piece, but there's no wrong way to do art. And that's an empowering thing. But I would imagine that part of what you see or hear from care partners is an expansion in their thought process of, well, maybe we should try something else. Maybe we should do...
Yes, exactly. But also, I think I think you would agree, so much of caregivers now, their caregivers are now expected to be art teachers too. I mean, it's a lot to ask. So I've made it really easy. So, the caregiver, the loved one, can have a meaningful interaction with the art kit, or can just take some time for themselves and do some self-care during that time.
One
other thing that was really interesting that I just showed the art kit to some neurologists, and one comment that was really wonderful to hear was that neurologists are used to emphasizing the losses This is all the losses in the brain, these parts of the brain. And, they never really talk about the gains. And art is definitely a gain. It's not a loss, whether it's music or dance or visual art. Those are all gains, and it's kind of puts a hopeful touch into this whole um, otherwise very very sad process of deterioration.
Yeah, and that's a great point that doctors kind of go down that negative path of loss instead of possibilities and what you can see. I remember with my own mom, and when I go around and speak and train, I talk about this a lot. That I got to see her lose her inhibitions. Her ego kind of left the room, and she wasn't so scared about other people judging her, and she became really playful and game to try whatever I put before her. And she taught me to kind of let go of my structure and my preconceived ideas of what could or couldn't happen, what was possible or what I thought wasn't. And she broke those myths one after another.
It's. I mean, we're scared of this disease, and we're scared of what's coming with every breath. And I think there's a lot of ways that may not be so linear of just being in the moment and enjoying the arts is one, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Now, have you gotten comments from people with dementia in terms of, what they've thought of after they've worked on one of your art kits?
Yes, I mean there is a sense, and I sent you a link for the movie, and it's a 2-minute movie that really shows the rigidity of how they get started when they enter the room, and how that rigidity kind of softens once they're involved in the art process, and then the smiles at the end, and kind of putting their art up, and just couldn't believe that they had done that, and being really proud and forgetting the next time. And so I bring it up again. This is what you did last time, and the enjoyment is completely back. And it also helps, ego is important for all ages and wherever we are. So that's really crucial.
Exactly. And well, when you talk about, ego is important, it's there's the pros and the cons to the ego. There's the negative side that's kind of our critic and gets in our way of accomplishing or trying. And then there's that beautiful side of just acceptance and, that true authentic self. And, there's nothing, I think, more powerful than somebody feeling proud or confident in themselves. And
so, I mean, a lot of the inspiration for this came because what's available even now is very infantilizing toys that were designed for children that stress on remember this and remember this. It's all about exercises on memory. But, memory is failing. So how about not stressing so much what you forget, but what you can create instead? And I mean, I think there's a role for memory games and all that, but my area of expertise and of joy is to bring the creativity out and the positivity of that experience.
Exactly. Now, for care partners, are there any particular stories that stand out to you in terms of how families might have just been amazed at what their loved one created?
Yes. It's also, it's a process with caregivers. They feel burnt out, a lot of them, and they don't want to try something new or be expected to to be an artist on top of everything they need to do. But once they try it, there's first of all uh, a relief that they don't have themselves to watch TV for 8 hours. It's tiring and it's exhausting of the spirit for them. So it's an opportunity to see what's possible. Like the person they're taking care of, or a family member, there's still brains working there, and there's still a joy of thinking, maybe not in a rational way, but there's a kind of very beautiful um, thinking where you put things together uh, for for the sake of being creative in the world. And I think that's important for all of us alive in this world to express our creativity in any. I mean, I'm not judging what that is, but so yes, they put the work on. They told me they put the work on the wall. And what's amazing is, for example, the half a light bulb. The half a light bulb can look completely different the next day or the next week. So all of these exercises can be done and redone and see completely different results. Or working with clay, or working with collage, and encouraging caregivers to start their own media, their own photographs to work with collage. So it's as important for the caregivers, I feel, as the participants themselves.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. It kind of knocks over the barriers and brings us together as a whole for what works. What makes sense. Can you talk about because you do the drawings, but you do stuff with music and things too. So can you tell people about the different types of kits or projects that you do if somebody hires you to come in?
Well, I'm concentrating on right now on the kit. The kit contains more visual arts than music. But in my past lives, as a director of Ruth Stable, I had a lot of music. And wherever people live, there's going to be a community music center or some kind of music place. Even symphony has rehearsals that are free, ballet. I mean, there's going to be places that can be accessed for no money or very little money. So I believe that all the arts, I've seen, I was part of developing many programs. One was this program in San Francisco that is an intergenerational modern dance company. And some people that cannot draw or are not inclined to draw would really love to move. So just even if you don't want to go out to just get to the library and get some videos or some music, and all of that stimulation only helps quality of life, and not just for the participant, but for everyone in the institution that they're in or in the home they live in.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Can you tell people what the cost to the art kits are and how they go about getting them?
Yes, my website is arttimeprograms.com. So art and then time and then programs.com, all one word. And there you can click on the page, and it's $28, and it's just myself putting them together right now. And it's really, I'm not making any money. I just want people to buy it and to use it. And I know people have been using it in cafes, memory cafes, and I mean, whatever situation that they can be used. I mean, I know doctors that want to use it as a diagnostic tool. So there's so many uses for the art kit. But was a caregiver, and I felt like as a professional artist, I could do something to help people with Alzheimer's be respected and just trust that there's creativity throughout one's life. So yes, just go to the Art Time Programs website, and I'll take you to a PayPal where you can order your kit. And when I mail it to you, I add my business cards, and I always love to hear feedback. I've already changed some activities twice because of the feedback, and I'm alone in my head. I mean, I did the testing, but it's great to hear. I wish you did more of this or less of this, or how about this idea. I would love to be able to connect with your community, Lori, and get some feedback on what works and how I can improve it.
Okay, well, that we can definitely talk about that offline. I was just thinking as we were talking, I can add you in on our Memory Cafe page as a resource. The other thing I was thinking of, too, is I've been working with the Roseville and Shoreview Library through our Roseville Alzheimer's and Dementia Action Team, and they actually have kits that people can sign out for care partners and people with dementia. And this might be something that they'd be interested in buying. So approaching libraries might be something, but I would recommend that you talk with Carol Jackson out of our Shoreview library to see how they've pulled this together, because it sounds like a lot of other libraries are interested in doing what they're doing. And
yeah, maybe you can email me those contacts. But one thing that I provide and is also training. I mean, as much as I'm saying this is simple, it's simple for me, and it's simple for most people, but there's some nursing homes that have hired me to train their staff and kind of break it down into, how you approach a senior. I usually approach them from the back, touching their shoulder very lightly. I don't, and sometimes I do put a marker in their hands when they forget what they're doing, to just kind of put the engines back in start mode. So I do things that help the process, and training is it's something that I love. I love to train caregivers or loved ones on how to get the best out of the kid.
Wonderful. Well, that would be great. And if you would, we're doing a cruise in November, and we're always looking for donations because we're going to be giving prizes away to people on the cruise, if that's something to consider. And I'm not going to put you on the spot. You can let me know afterwards, or if any of our listeners are interested in donating to the cruise, if you've got, product, tool, or service.
I'm going to donate 2 orchids for your cruise.
Oh, that would be.
You got them.
That would be wonderful. And because that's another way that we can help promote what it is you're doing. And I can, for anybody who sponsors or donate, we'll go ahead and post that on our cruise page. So that people know your generosity and stuff.
This is so much about doing it rather than thinking it. So, people need to see it and use it and experience it for themselves.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for doing that. Like I said, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just thought I'd throw that out there as food for thought. But and we can, I can easily put you in touch with others with dementia if you want to talk with them and get feedback, on your program. They're always very interested in something like that. Now, do caregivers themselves ever use the kits, and maybe not for the person with dementia, but do they sit maybe side by side with somebody, or maybe if someone has progressed where they can't do the artwork anymore, do you see caregivers purchasing it for themselves?
I haven't heard of that, but I don't know what they do in the privacy of their homes. Mm-hmm. So I know of caregivers that work on different activities from the art kids side by side. What what is, I'm sure this is not going to be surprising to you, but at first caregivers wanted to sit next to them and doing it for them. I mean, that's just like, incredibly super caring people want to help. But in this case, that's just, not recommended. What's recommended sometimes is patience, because it may take 5 minutes for the person with Alzheimer's to get started, or he or she may need a little help getting started. But I want to respect and enhance the creative process of the person, not necessarily the caregiver. But the caregiver could be making art side by side on a different project, or even the same project, but kind of leave the person as much to their own creative process as possible. And it's hard. They want to do it for them. And I have to speak with the caregivers like 5 minutes before I did the testing and saying, don't take this personal, but you're going to help me a lot with the testing if you actually don't help at all, so I can see what's not working and what I can improve.
Sure. Well, and that makes perfect sense, but people don't think of that because we're always trying to fix something instead of letting things be and analyzing, do they really work or not work? And so that's kind of an interesting concept in and of itself. That's for
sure.
Isn't
it? I mean, sometimes I see families just kind of insisting, don't you remember Uncle John? And it's like, just let go, let go. The person is not remembering Uncle John, and so just doing something different, then is not going to frustrate both the caregiver and the person with Alzheimer's, I think would be great.
Exactly. Is there anything, Lola, that we haven't touched base with that you would like our audience to know about your art kits and yourself?
Well, let's see. I'm a professional artist myself, so I do my website is like my name, lolafraknoi.com. So I think it's important to keep my hands dirty because my art process needs to continue be stimulated for me to be helping other people. So I'm mostly doing printmaking and sculpture right now. I have a studio where I do that, and it's great because I don't think about Alzheimer's or the art kit when I do that. It's just selfishly for my own creative process, but I feel like that needs to be nourished for me to continue, just like caregivers need self-care and to be nourished for them to continue taking care of people themselves. So I think that's important, and I hope that the art kit gives caregivers both a little glimpse into the art process and also a ray of hope of all the creativity that can be inside their loved ones that they were not aware of.
Yeah, that's an amazing piece that I think so many people forget about is the whole person.
Well, they don't know how to go about it. So we need to help caregivers. We have to train them, and we have to give them tools to be able to try different things and not be afraid, and do more than just watching TV and bingo, whatever else they're doing. And they're going to be rejuvenated themselves in this whole process because, as you know, I don't know about your mom, but my mom's illness, I think, was like 12 years. It can be a long time.
Yeah, mine was 30. So, yeah.
No way.
Yep.
30 years.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, it's a journey, and we have to learn how to live graciously with it. Now, you mentioned the Bay Area too,
Mm-hmm.
in California, and I don't know. I'm just going to throw this out here. It's a little off topic, but I don't know if you're familiar with Maria Shriver's event that she's doing June 4th, Move for the Minds.
Mm-hmm.
That might be something that you want to participate in too. I believe they're doing I know they're doing something. Yeah, I'm pretty sure in the Bay Area. I'm going to be out in Orange County at that
Mm-hmm.
one, but she's doing like 8 events around the country on June
Mm-hmm. Is there
4th.
going to be any art
There,
workshops?
well, that is something that they might consider adding. I know it's going to be exercise and yoga, but they're trying to do kind of whole mind and
Mm-hmm.
body things, and I think art would be a really good piece. So again, I think that might be another great connection for you to make. In even if it doesn't work out this year, for next year.
Yeah, I know. I know the work that she's doing, and I so respect her for it.
Yep,
It's very important work.
yep, yep. She is doing some neat things. Well, I will definitely follow up on our conversation here and make connections that I had talked about during the show. And again, I appreciate you donating a couple of art kits to our cruise.
Yeah. Yeah. So, your website has your address.
Yep, I'll get that to you when I send
Okay.
you the other
Yeah.
information
So
and
they'll
stuff.
be in the mail next week, so you can count on that.
Okay, well, wonderful.
And please give me your feedback. I mean, you have so much experience and information to share with me as well. So
Yeah, well,
um,
I really do encourage people to go to your website, and that's arttimeprograms with an S on the end.com,
mhm.
arttimeprograms.com.
Yep.
Or you can go to www.lola, Lola, and then her last name is Fraknoi, and that's Fraknoi.
That's right.
Yep, .com.
And if you want to look at my own work, it really, that's really optional. It doesn't have anything to do with it doesn't really have to do with the art kit, but it basically I'm a creative person, and I felt some responsibility to come up with something because there's so little out there. It's just amazing
Yeah, it's
that
kind of
people are
spooky.
still recommending folding socks as an activity. Is we could do better than that. I mean, we could take them more seriously. And I think what's going to help is all the research that's coming up on the brain, and the role of creativity is taking very seriously. I know that there's a lot of very important grants that are being given on creativity and the brain, because there is, unfortunately, no cure right now. So knowing that creativity has been spared for a long time of the illness, it is something to really take seriously and explore.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Lola, so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it. And is there any last thing that you want to communicate to our audience?
No, but please contact me and tell me, if you purchase it, tell me how it went and give me your feedback. I would love to hear it.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much, Lola.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you. And wrapping up, I just want to also make an announcement for those of you that don't know. The co-founder of Us Against Alzheimer, Trish Vanderberg, passed away. She's going to be greatly missed. You'll be hearing more about this amazing, dynamic woman and her passion to shift our dementia care culture, and what Us Against Alzheimer's has done to move things forward. It's pretty pretty amazing. I'll just say that. I also wanted to, again, just note if you're planning a vacation, or maybe you're thinking about doing something with the family, come with us on our Dementia Friendly Conference and Cruise, November 11th through the 19th. We're going to be in the Caribbean with Holland America, and it's going to be a fantastic time to relax, rejuvenate, learn, and just make some great friendships that'll, I think, be life-changing for you. And you can find more information out by just going to alzheimersspeaks.com, and you can find our whole program listed there. I also want you to know that if you're new to our show, all of our radio shows are archived, so you can go back like 6 years and listen to shows. We also have a platform called Dementia Chats. If you're not familiar with that, it's a very interesting platform where I interview people with dementia, and we learn what it is life is really like with the disease and how they'd like to be treated. In fact, our last video we did was how they want to be communicated with. And they've got some great tips for us on how they would prefer us to deal with them. You can also get information on the movie His Neighbor Phil and how you can be a host of that screening. Just go to our initiatives and projects and click on that. You'll be able to get more information. I want to give a shout out also to the Caregiver Alert Center. They have a wonderful program, and you can get a 10% discount by putting in the code ALZSpeaksPromo10, ALZ Speaks Promo 10. And basically, you can have information in place in case your loved one would ever wander. It can just be life-saving and get you a little extra sleep at night for not a lot of money. So in the meantime, have a wonderful week, and we'll talk with you all very soon. Bye now.
Hi, everyone. This is Meredith from the Senior Fitness with Meredith podcast, where I discuss all things for seniors. From fitness, your health and wellness journeys, how to be all over strong and beyond. I also have my mini podcast called Motivation with Meredith. It's a great, quick motivational pick-me-up for your days. Join me, listen now, search for Senior Fitness with Meredith on your favorite podcast platform.